Today we're going to make a nice comfort food, cream of broccoli soup. And the ingredients you need are 2 pints of heavy cream or half and half, a half a pound of Velveeta, 3/4 of a cup of minced onion, a half a cup of flour, a 1/4 cup cornstarch, 2 tablespoons of butter, a half a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of salt, 3 15-ounce cans of chicken broth, and approximately 30 ounces of frozen chopped broccoli. Put 2½ cans of chicken broth in a 5 or 6 quart pot on low. Save the other half a can for later. Melt 2 tablespoons of butter in a large frying pan. Then add 3/4 of a cup of minced onions. Cook the onions until they're translucent. While you're cooking the onions, take about 1/4 of your broccoli and pulse it a couple of times in your food processor. When the onions are translucent, add all the broccoli to the frying pan. Mix it pretty good and then slowly add a half a cup of flour, constantly stirring to coat all the broccoli and the onions with the flour and remove any of the lumps that are in the flour. And make sure you scrape the bottom of the frying pan good so that the flour doesn't stick. When the broccoli is thoroughly coated and you don't see any more lumps, take it off the heat and set it aside. Mix a 1/4 cup of cornstarch into the half a can of chicken broth that you saved earlier. Mix it good and set it aside. Now add your broccoli to the pot of chicken broth. Give it a good stir and put it back on the heat and bring it to a boil. Stir it occasionally so that it doesn't stick. When the soup comes to a medium boil, stir in the cornstarch and chicken broth mixture. Stirring occasionally, let the soup cook for 5 more minutes at a medium to low boil. Then turn it down to a simmer. When the soup comes down to a simmer, add the 2 pints of heavy cream or half and half, and keep the soup at a simmer for the rest of the cooking process. Cut a half a pound of Velveeta into small pieces and melt it in the microwave. Do it in 30-second increments, stirring in between each one. When it's nice and melted, add it to your soup. It's really important that you do a good job of mixing the cheese in. You want to make sure that it all dissolves and it's not just sitting on the bottom. Add a teaspoon of salt, a half teaspoon of black pepper. Let it simmer a few more minutes and it's done. I prefer a teaspoon of black pepper or a teaspoon and a half of black pepper, but there are people in my family who don't like a lot of black pepper in their soup, so we compromised and we just put a half a teaspoon in, and I put what I want in my bowl when I eat it. I think you'll like it. It tastes pretty good. I mean, how can anything with a half a pound of cheese taste bad, right? Bye.